Hey, in this tutorial, we're going to see how to launch the web browser, so launch URLs in the web browser in our NativeScript application. And this is going to work for both Android and iOS. So maybe you have a link inside of your application, you want to be able to show it in the system browser. This is going to make that possible. So let's go ahead and first start off by creating a new project on our desktop. So we're going to say TNS create example project. All right, with that created, let's go ahead and navigate into that directory. And we're going to go ahead and add our platforms. It is important to note that if you're not using a Mac, you cannot add the iOS platform. So if you're using Linux or Windows, you're restricted to only building Android applications. That is one of the benefits of owning a Mac. So I just added iOS. Let's do the same for Android. Perfect. We now have our project and we have the platforms added. So let's go ahead and open it from our desktop. Oops, too far. And let's go ahead and open this within our text editor or whatever IDE you happen to be using. All right, so I have my project open. I'm using Atom by GitHub. Let's go ahead and start by opening the main page.js. This is where all of our JavaScript is going to end up. So starting with, we need to add a dependency. This dependency allows us to make use of the system browser. So that dependency is as follows. So var, let's call it utility module. You can name it whatever you want. Let's say require utils/utils. All right, now inside of this utility module, we have access to a function. This function is called open URL, and we're going to see that right now. Let's first create a function for it. Let's say exports. Let's say let's call the function launch equals function. And before we actually populate this function, we're going to go ahead and make some manipulations to our XML file. So what's displayed on the screen. So let's open up main page.xml. We're going to strip out these labels because this is a very simple project. We're not making it very extravagant. Let's say launch URL as the button text, and we're going to change the tap event to whatever we just called it. I think we called it launch. That's the name of the function. Yeah, so launch. So we have our UI done. Now we go back into our logic file and we're going to populate this function here. Let's say utility module dot open URL, and let's pass in a URL to open. So let's say https blog entervoy.com. So it's just going to open up my blog. Nothing spectacular. You could always, I at least hope that you're going to make it more extravagant than I am as far as opening URLs, but this is just to show you that this utilities class exists and you can access the open URL of that module. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to open up my terminal and I'm going to say TNS run Android. I already have a simulator running, so I'm just going to bring it to the foreground here. All right, so we have our app. It's simple. It has a button, and if everything went well, we're going to click that launch URL, and it's going to work out fine. There you go. It's opening my blog inside of the browser. So that worked out well. Let's go ahead and now try it inside of an iOS simulator. So now we're going to say TNS run iOS emulate. And again, this is, you have to have a Mac. Oops. TNS. Oh, that's why. I made a typo. That's pretty sad that I don't know how to spell, but that's all right. It's an honest mistake. I'm sure everyone at some point in time will experience the same thing I just experienced, where I typed in the wrong flag, but that's all right. All right, I'm going to click Launch URL, and there you go. It loaded my blog, just like it should have. So as you can see, it was not difficult. We just very simply added this module, and now we can open up URLs to external websites within our project.